Good evening. Welcome to Tokyo Game Show official program Dynasty Warriors Origin. I'm today's host, Hatsune Matsushima. Thank you for having me. So today we are going to deep dive into this title, which is going to be launched on January 17th, 2025, and we will provide the latest information. And we also have our guest today. I'm the producer of Dynasty Warriors Origins, the most handsome guy from the Koei Tecmo Games. My name is Sho. Thank you for having me. Well, yeah, we should have to start with that. And now let's dive into the overview of the Dynasty Warriors Origin. So this title is a tactical action game that offers an experience like no other, and the players can enjoy a sense of realism on the battlefield and the exhilarating action of 1 versus 1,000 in the world of the Three Kingdoms, which is both Chinese history and the story, a fusion of the story of the Three Kingdoms, tactics, and battles. And this is the latest series of the Three Kingdoms, but it is a suitable work for fans, but also for people who have never played it before and do not have the knowledge of the Three Kingdoms. It is a completely new title, and so you can start from here. And what I want to know is that what is the difference between the battles and the tactics? They sound very similar. So let me explain. Battles mean to break through the tidal war with your own fighting skills to directly beat the enemies. And the tactics means to assess and maneuver through the battle situation and indirectly leading to the victory of your own troops. And in order to win, both are very important, and to enjoy the sense of realism on the battlefield and the exhilarating action. And it is a new design. So for the series fans, as well as for the newcomers, I'm sure that many people are curious about Origins and which platform will it be available. It will be available on PS5, Xbox Series XS, and Steam. Fully leverage the functions of the hardwares and to enjoy the battles with massive armies. We just watched the video a little bit, and I think it's very exciting. A lot of people got excited, I'm sure, and I look forward to its release on January the 17th. Yes, and we are working very hard to make a game that can be enjoyed by all the game fans around the world. And now let's look into more details of this game. There are 4 key points of Dynasty Warriors Origins. Number 1 is an intense Three Kingdoms experience. Number 2, the protagonists and officers. Number 3, traveling across the Chinese continent. Number 4, battles with massive armies. And we are releasing the information for the first time about the battles and actions, and we will also do an actual gameplay, so please stay with us till the last minute. And now let's go into the first point, an intense Three Kingdoms experience. Now let me take over. So the story begins in AD 183, a year before the Yellow Turban Rebellion, and the protagonists will encounter the heroes who rose up to settle the rebellion. A dynamic story will unfold. And following the Yellow Turban Rebellion, the protagonists will go through the iconic battles of the Three Kingdoms, the battle against the tyrannical Dong Zhuo, the most powerful officer Lu Bu, the battle of Guandu, in which Cao Cao beat the powerful forces of Yuan Shao. These will lead to the culmination of the first half of the Three Kingdoms, the Battle of Chibi, a large-scale battle by Wei Shu and Wu. The story is rich and profound. The story ends at the Battle of Chibi, and for people who know the series, it may feel like you have shaved off a lot of volumes. Well, it is very a difficult decision for us to make, but we end the story at the Battle of Chibi, which means that we can actually enrich the story up until that battle. And also, I'm going to give you more details. It is not a one-way. It is a multi-ending, and the volume is on par with the previous series. So you deliberately ended the game at the Battle of Chibi, and to make the story richer, exactly. And also, it will feel very refreshed for the fans. And as you said, that for people who do not know the history of the Three Kingdoms, including myself, like, do we have to study a little bit? Do we have to prepare before we start playing a game? You don't have to. Absolutely not. And on the contrary, we designed and we produced the game in a way that people who do not know the Three Kingdom can enjoy the characters and the story. And even if you have zero knowledge about Three Kingdom, you can still enjoy the games. The heroic officers during the rise and fall of their country fight with faith and ambitions. Enjoy the dynamic story. I also want to learn. Yes, of course, you can play, and up until the Battle of Chibi, you will become Doctor Three Kingdom. And then we can also talk about Three Kingdom among the fans. Our dream will expand. And as I said, this is not a one-way story. It is a multi-ending story. When you start the game, the protagonist does not belong to any of the forces. And as the story unfolds, you will join either Cao Cao, Sun Jian, or Liu Bei, who will later form the Three Kingdoms, and you will interact deeply with the heroes, and you will decide the ending of your story and also the future of each forces. And you can play again and again. And that's exactly what we want people to do. Please play it again and again, and that's what we incorporated into the game. And you can play with your favorite officer. And now let's look at the protagonist and the officers. The original Three Kingdom is an ensemble cast without a specific protagonist, but the story of this game is based on a consistent first-person point of view of the original character to provide a more immersive experience. The protagonist is a young man with amnesia, and he does not have a name, and he will interact with many heroes and get himself involved in battles in different regions. As his surrounding environment changes, he is going to gradually retrieve his memory. His lost memory is going to affect the story, right? Exactly. His memory and his origin have a lot to do with the story, and the protagonist is the player, and you will be deeply involved in the story. And the players can name the protagonist, but he will also actually he has a special power, and he utilized that capability, that power to fight, and so he will be called Ziluan because of his fighting style, and we will talk about that special power later. And you will be playing from the point of view of the protagonist, so you will be controlling him, but you can also control the nine officers that he's close with, and they are called companions. And you can work together and fight together. And let me show you those nine officers. Let me start with the companion of the Cao Cao's forces. So Xiao Houdun, Cao Cao's cousin and a strong officer, and Guo Jia, a young and genius strategist, and then Zhang Liao, who is so powerful as he became the origin of the expression, fearful enough to silence a crying child. And then we have the companions of the Sun Jian's forces. So Huang Gai, who served the Sun's family for 3 generations, Sun Shangxiang, the little sister of Sun Ce or Sun Quan. Later, she will marry Liu Bei, and Zhou Yu, the sworn brother of Sun Ce, a brave and resourceful officer. So we have a good balance of men and female. And then companions of Liu Bei's forces, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, the invisible heroes and the sworn brothers of Liu Bei. They supported Liu Bei's achievements without fail. And Zhao Yun, a young brave officer who is full of courage. So these are all the famous officers, and these are even famous beyond people who do not know Three Kingdom. And some of the officers, their age and is during the Yellow Turban Rebellion. So actually the design has changed in accordance with their age, and the costume will change depending on their age, and also the change of their positions. And that's great. That will add more fun to the game.
In this game, in addition to this country, many heroic figures from the Three Kingdoms will appear as both enemies and allies. They won't accompany the protagonist in battles, but you can deepen your relationships and bonds with them. So we hope you enjoy interacting with them. I want to meet the officers. All right, let's move on to the third topic. It's about traveling across the Chinese mainland. In this game, you'll move across the continental map to reach cities, towns, and battlefields. In cities and towns, you can buy weapons and items or generate upgrading items called gems at inns to enhance yourself. And also, you'll receive letters that will trigger missions. Letters? That sounds interesting. The map is made up of different areas, like Jiso province and Yugo province, and the areas you can access will gradually increase. Great. Although it's a condensed map of the Chinese mainland, it still takes time to travel, so we've prepared fast travel. But honestly, for those who've read the Romance of the Three Kingdoms in manga or novels, some people might not fully understand the geography on the map. That's right. But in this map, you can enjoy the game and actually learn it. So you understand the geography, right? Oh, this is where the battle took place. Wow. You will really become knowledgeable. Yes, I hope everyone can enjoy learning while they play. Awesome. And on the battlefield, there aren't just the main battles, but also spontaneous battles and mission based fights where the player can choose to play. By resolving the conflicts in each area, the peace level or peace index increases, and you can also get rewards like accessories. I like elements like this, something you can really dive into. There are a lot of contents like that. It's not just about passing through an area. You will want to look back on the places you've walked through. Yes, that's exactly how we want you to enjoy the game, so please look forward to that. Besides that, you can also gather necessary materials and ancient coins to generate the upgrading items or gems, or interact with heroic figures. So I hope you enjoyed exploring the map as well. Thank you. Now, lastly, let's talk about the battles with overwhelming armies. Let's take a look at this. Can you tell how many soldiers are on it? Well, maybe 50? No way, it's impossible to count them all. Exactly, we haven't actually counted them either. What I thought was grass is actually an army in the background, isn't it? Yes, that's right. It's all soldiers. I haven't counted them either. You didn't count them? On the screen, there can be thousands of soldiers clashing in battles. Of course, the goal isn't just to display a lot of soldiers. This is to create an overwhelming sense of immersion on the battlefield and showcasing the unique strategies and actions. The more there are, the more satisfying it is when you defeat them, and it makes them terrifying as enemies. Exactly. While the heroic figures are each powerful on their own, the soldiers against you or with you can become a threat or a reliable ally through sheer numbers. In this game, these overwhelming armies play a critical role both strategically and in terms of action. These armies generally have very high morale, and officials and soldiers with high morale are incredibly strong, so they are a very powerful force. From an action standpoint, if the protagonist tries to fight alone, it's very likely they will be beaten down by those highly motivated soldiers. It's possible. It's reckless, or rather dangerous. Of course, if you've trained your character or if you're confident in your skills, go ahead and try it. If you can do it, give it a shot. And yes, there really is a possibility that such an approach could work. The key to success lies in how you break down or weaken the enemy's massive army and how you attack with your own forces. If things don't go well, you might be defeated in the end, but if they do, you could wipe out the enemies with great satisfaction. So, really, everything changes depending on how you strategize and fight, right? Exactly. So that's where it becomes crucial. Well, that's the idea, but we'll explain in more detail by actually playing the game, focusing on the massive armies and new action mechanics.